Yo, collect and connect. Blake and Chad.
Chad.
And Blake.
Collect
and connect.
Blake and Chad's collect and connect.
Which one? English.
Frank goes Blake and Chad's.
This is
Blake and Chad's.
This is
Collect and connect.
All right, yeah, nice. So, how long have you been doing art now? How long can you remember?
How long have I been doing? I mean, forever. That's that question. I mean, that's always been always. How long have I been doing it without having another job? Probably 7 years, maybe going on 8. About that.
So you just recently started evolving yourself into the art.
I recently started to evolve into like sculpture and different kind of mediums, but I painted forever. So the first portion of this was I was an acrylic painter, and then I went into murals. And then from murals, I've always made things, but then I started to teach myself like resin and casting and other things like that. So that's been maybe the last, probably since maybe 2019. And then when the pandemic hit, I kind of hunkered down and focused on that more.
Sweet. So you focused more on, you were sculpting first, it sounds like, and then into murals, because those murals on those buildings are pretty insane. I mean, those are.
I did murals first, and then when the pandemic ended up hitting, and then
Gotcha.
Everything was kind of hunkered down, and my sisters had all these babies as soon as it happened. So before vaccines and everything, we were very kind of careful in going a lot of places. So I kind of not locked myself in my studio, but when it first hit and people weren't really leaving, I was just there, me and YouTube, and I YouTubed a lot of things and figured out how to do stuff, and then kind of went from there.
Sweet. What kind of dog you got back there?
Oh, I don't know. I stole him from Mexico on one of my you could see him. He's like some.
Yeah, I saw him move back there. I was like, he looks cool.
Back. Behind him is my cat Derek. Right before the pandemic hit, I went to go paint in Mexico, and he was tied up outside of my wall, basically dying. So it ruined my whole trip because it was tough to step over his body every day. And now he's on my couch. So
that's awesome. What a story.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool.
It's awesome you just rescue him like that. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to be able to come here, but a bunch of dots connected and a bunch of women ended up helping me getting him. He flew first class. He gained 70 pounds, and now he's living his life.
That's awesome.
How old is he about, do you know?
I got him I got him in November of 2019, and he was maybe a couple months, and then the pandemic hit. So I want to say he's maybe 2.5, a little bit older.
Perfect timing then.
Yeah.
He's looking comfortable now.
yeah, he really lives. He really lives the life now.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, we're more of a casual, laid-back type of situation here. Honestly, we connected, me and Chad, through an NFT app, and we connected with a few artists and done a few shows, and we've been reaching out to a few artists now to try to connect some bridges as well. And we do appreciate your time. This is so cool of you to really take your time out to chat with us for a few moments.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but we're really trying to reach out to the community, and just NFTs are something that we've been doing. I've been collecting for a long time, but I really got back into collecting just recently with all these NFTs and one of the apps that we're in, and we saw some of your work, and we're like, oh man, look at this. This is some amazing work. I love skate decks, and that last skate deck.
The skate deck.
I just got into NFTs. I took a crash course. I painted this. I'm involved in this place called the Alpha House in Manhattan. It's a very very fancy penthouse. And a bunch of people there ended up helping me. I had a feel for them, but they walked me through like how to mint, how to create one, how to do all this stuff. So like, which is difficult because I'm usually a very physical person and like learning how to do things with my hands. So like, it was much harder in learning all that, but I'm definitely getting there. I minted my first ones and now we're working on future ones. And
Cool.
so that's another outlet that I'm beginning to branch out in, but we'll see.
Nice. Have they been like, are they on a platform then? Have you released those yet?
They are on a platform, actually. They're in the middle of, lucky enough, being sold. They are on OpenSea though. My two Genesis ones, I did a digital rendition of like my most popular sculpture, this rose block that I make. So I had it done digitally, and then I had to actually paint for this house. So I put a mural in this house that's going to end up also being an NFT curated by my friend Harris. And then from there, it's just a bunch of like totally crypto, like that's all they do all the time, you know.
Whole new
So,
ball game with
out
us.
there for a while to try to like figure out what was going on. So they are minted, but they're actually in the process of the being sold. So lucky enough.
Nice.
So that rose in the block, that was your main piece, or yeah, I saw that through your Instagram. That's so dope. My wife's like, you should have got me that for Mother's Day.
I sell a lot for Mother's Day, a lot for friends. This was actually one of the things in the pandemic I made. Like it was actually an accident, and then it just kind of evolved. Like a lot of my things they begin
so cool,
and then they evolve. But it's cool. And then it's cool. Like you know, the NFT comes with a piece. They got like a stamp of a seal underneath. They're real roses.
I was gonna say, is that a real rose in resin?
Yeah, it's a real rose, and it's like suspended and cast in like a whole process, and then
Nice.
it's buried in concrete and kind of dug out. And then a lot of people put all sorts of various meanings to it, which is kind of nice. It leaves it open-ended, but the truth be told, it did start out as a mistake that just kind of took off.
It's a cool concept. I like it because everyone talks about rose from a concrete, and yeah, that's a dope way to put it into that concept.
Yeah, and it displays it nice. No, they are nice, and then people are really big on like collectibles, so you can like collect them and do different colors and whatnot. And like you said, like Mother's Day, birthdays, they're good. They're good.
Yeah, it sounds like a big range of where you can use them at. But I wasn't thinking about that side, but yeah, it's a pretty cool, you know, the way to think of using that stuff. You said that's going into your NFT, and are you going to have different colors, or is it going to start off with the red one of one?
The NFT is actually those two colors. So my Genesis has two of them. There's a cyan and there's a crimson one, like a red and a blue one. So it's that digitally, and they spin and they bloom. But I didn't want to start, because I didn't have a full understanding. I didn't want to start with like a huge number, you know what I mean? So I wanted one of ones to move those and then to go from there. And I have a good friend that does a lot of crypto. So I asked him for like, what's my best case scenario? Like I went to a bunch of people who knew what they were doing, because I don't, when it came to this world. And I said, like, you know, what's the smarter move here? How do I approach this? How do I enter it? And they gave me like basically a list of what I could do. And I went and I did my homework and executed it properly. So now like we'll see where we go from here, and next editions and stuff.
How do you feel about the art evolution into NFT? I mean, I know it's probably like a crash course for most artists right now, trying to take their physical into a digital aspect and, you know, push it out. Like you said, you took a lot to learn real quick, but how do you feel about as far as your physical going into an NFT?
Originally, when it started, I didn't fully understand it. I understood crypto, but then when they went into the NFT space, I was like, I didn't understand the appeal of something on a screen on the wall, especially for the money that it was going for. I mean, I loved the money that it was going for, but I didn't so much understand, you know what I mean, how that worked. But then as it evolved a little bit and pieces are attached to it, and now you can kind of, I like being shown like a medium and then being given options to do it my way. So I can attach a physical piece to it, but I could also attach a mural to it. You know what I mean? You could, and now there's different ways of pulling. I've seen what other artists have done, so it has kind of broadened the range of what's possible. So I like that now as opposed to just a blank, or a screen on a wall. There's definitely so much to still learn that I am still like trying to wrap my head around. It's also a very fast moving space. But now being in this space, this house that I'm involved in is like, I mean, they are like big boys. Like I am nowhere near. So they're big dogs in this house. So being around that environment now and seeing what goes on, again, it's like a sink or swim type situation.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's very cool. 1-to-1s.
Yeah, just 2 of them. It was good because I feel like 2 is a lot for me to handle. And then now I have incorporated within this house, I have all these other NFT opportunities coming in, but I'm glad that at least my first one was of my most popular pieces. I can stand behind them. I really enjoy the artwork, digitally as well as in person. So it's a thing. I'm comfortable currently with the space I'm in with them.
Nice. And that's cool that you're offering the physical with them as well, because you said that's what that was, right? Each one comes with their own physical.
Yeah. Yep. Each of them comes with their the matching physical to the NFT.
That's cool. Yeah, and yeah, that's the best part about NFTs probably. Now you're connecting with your community and people that really love your product, and they buy that one of one, and you give them a physical or a print, or you connect them, or you have them at your gallery showing that your next you're showing wherever it's going to be. Those are cool utilities that you can incorporate with this. You do so much other stuff. You do the clear physicals, the rosin. We saw some of those. Like I saw a cobra head.
No, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw those.
I like to duplicate a lot of stuff into different materials. And again, that's one of the things, like when I had an idea how to do it, but when COVID started, like I wanted to know how to make my own molds, how to cast my own stuff. So that was another rabbit hole I ended up falling down.
You learned all this within a matter of like the past 10 years, huh?
I learned all this.
Years.
Too.
Wow.
Painting aside.
Well, yeah. The physical aspect, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to say I grew up in kind of like a very woodsy environment where a lot of things were done with my hand. So as much as I didn't do resin and casting and whatnot, I do kind of have a good feel of how certain things and elements work together. I was also a real big science nerd. So like it was kind of like the meshing of those two worlds. But yes, learning how to cast silicone, resin, and stuff like that, that's only started in 2020.
Wow. Yeah, because our editor, he's interested in going into learning all that. So making his own physicals as well. So he'll love to hear that. So
I mean, it's fun. It's fun to think of, like, here's one of my favorites. It's fun, like, I wanted to make a paper airplane, but like, you know what I mean, out of this. So I actually met a really cool guy that did the bases, because I don't know how to do the base, but this I did from start to finish, like casted it, made the mold, made the ended up selling them as a release. So the cool thing is, like, you get to think of something, create it, sell it, and then move on to the next thing, so that's like the most fun part about it, is I don't have to outsource everything. These ones I can do in-house.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's very cool then. Getting to create them yourself rather than sourcing it out, like that adds a little more to the piece itself when you're purchasing it too, as a collector.
Yeah. And I understand how it works. I'm really big on understanding how things work. So then I have a better feel. And then even with outsourcing or with collabing, then I can go somewhere else and bring the knowledge that I have, you know what I mean, as well as what they have, and kind of put it together. And then, it adds more to the whole thing.